done. Okay, so I'm continuing the study guide number 17, and in this one we are going to find our dot product for u and v given these two vectors, okay? So the dot product of u and v, you take each component from u. So I'm going to do the horizontal, and I multiply it with the horizontal component of v, which is -6. And then I'm going to add the product of the vertical components. So that's the -1 from u and the -8 from v. So +2 times -6 is -12, and -1 times -8 is +8. When I add those, I get -4. Okay, so the angle between u and v is found with this formula here. I'm going to write it off to the side. Cosine of an angle equals the dot product of u and v. Then go ask your sister. I put on octonauts because I thought that's what you wanted, child.
That was over.
Oh, it's so dramatic. Sorry, guys. My kid wants to watch PJ Masks instead of octonauts. The life of a mother. Okay, u squared is equal to the horizontal side squared plus the vertical component squared. Okay, and so 2 squared is 4, and -1 squared is 1, and the sum is 5. But remember, this is the magnitude squared, so I have to square root. And so that's square root of 5. Okay, so I'm going to use that there. Okay, then we need the magnitude of v. Okay, so magnitude of v would be magnitude squared plus the horizontal squared plus the vertical squared. Okay, that would be 36 plus 64, which I believe is 100. And when you square root, you're going to get the magnitude as 10. Okay, so I'm going to plug those in each of these spots, here, here, and my dot product I'm going to put here because I already found that. So that means I'm going to have cosine of my angle is equal to -4 over 10 root 5. Okay, so I'm going to type that in my calculator. -4 over 10 root 5. And I get that crazy thing there. It just rationalized my denominator. Okay, but that's not my answer. I have to do the cosine inverse. So cosine inverse. And I get 100.30. Excellent. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, dot product. This time I have this linear form, and so we're going to convert this to component form. Okay, it's good practice. So the component form of v is going to be 3, 2, and the component form of v is going to be 3, 2. Hey! Uh-oh, I did not mean to have 2 identical vectors. Oh well, we're going to see what happens when they are identical. And you're going to see it pretty well. What kind of angle do you think it's going to have? I wonder if it's going to have a 0-degree angle, which would mean parallel, because they're identical. Okay, probably. All right, let's see if I get this correct. So the dot product of u and v is 3 times 3.
Thank you for showing me.
Plus 2 times 2. Uh-oh, that was supposed to be from you. Carried away. Okay, so that's going to be 9 plus 4, which is 13. Okay, So that's going to be my dot product. Okay, I'm going to use the same formula. So I need magnitude of u. Okay, and that's going to be 3 squared plus 2 squared, which is 9 plus 4. Oh my goodness, which is 13. And that is the magnitude squared, so I square root. And I get the magnitude is 13. Square rooted. Okay, because these two are duplicates, I know that I'm also going to get a magnitude of v equals root 13. So when I find my angle between, but my dot product is 13, my magnitude of u is root 13, magnitude of v is root 13, root 13 times root 13 is 13. So I'd have 13 over 13, or 1, and guess what? Cosine 1 is, or cosine inverse of 1. 1. Oh, it is 0 degrees. So I'm sure I didn't mean to do that. It's still good practice. So anyway, those would be parallel or identical. Okay, the one on the test will not be identical. All right, let's take a look over here. Number 21. This time we are looking for parallel, orthogonal, or neither. Okay, so I wish I had made more space. I think I'm going to white this out, put it down here, because I know I'm going to run out of room. Okay, so 22, u equals 1 over 4, comma, negative 2. Some of you guys missed this on the quiz today, so it's probably a good idea to go over this one with the fraction, because you all said that you were confident and okay with it when I asked before the quiz, but then there are still some hang-ups there. Okay, so first thing we want to do for number 21 is find the component form of u. So that'd be 3 comma 4. And then the component form of v is negative 6 comma negative 8. Okay. Again, we're going to want to use that formula. So I want dot product of u and v. Okay, so the dot product of u and v would be the horizontal from u, which is 3, times the horizontal from v, which is negative 6. And then add that with the product of the vertical component from u with the vertical component of v. 3 times negative 6. I'm trying not to mess up my pens. Okay. Equals, that's going to be negative 18 plus 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. And negative 8 plus negative 18 plus negative 32, so that'd be negative 40, negative 50. Okay, and then I need to find the magnitude of u. So magnitude squared equals the horizontal squared plus the vertical squared. So, oh, that's a Pythagorean triple. I'm going to end up with 5. Watch. 9 plus 16 equals 25. Square root. Magnitude of u equals 5. Ooh. So do you see the Pythagorean triple? Awesome! Okay, this is also a Pythagorean triple. 6, 8, 10. Notice it's 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. So it's going to be 10. So we just double that. But I'll show it to you, prove it to you. My math sense is really high because we're doing all this hard stuff. Negative 6 squared plus negative 8 squared equals 36 plus 64, which is 100, and square root of 100 is 10. Okay, so then I'm going to do our equation here, and so I'm going to have cosine of our angle equals the dot product, which is negative 50, over 5 times 10. 5 times 10 is 50, so I get negative 50 over 50, which is negative 1. And I think we're going to have another parallel angle, because if you cosine inverse both sides, then cosine inverse of -1 is 180. I remember that from first semester. So remember 180 is when you have two vectors. So like 3u would be like this. Okay? And then v would be the negative and twice as long. Okay? So that vector there at 180. Okay? And so then you could move them because vectors do not have a position. So this would be parallel. Okay, how do I know it was 180? I knew it because I'm looking at my unit circle like in my mind, but I can show you guys here. Cosine inverse of -1 is 180. Okay. All right, one more on this page and we'll flip to the next page. Okay, again, we're determining if they're orthogonal, parallel, or neither. So I'm going to find the angle between. The fraction might confuse a few of you. Again, we're going to do dot product first. So u with v, you take the horizontal of u, multiply it with the horizontal from v, plus the horizontal in u, the vertical in u with the vertical in v. Okay? 1/4 of 8 is 2. And then I'm adding -2 times 1 is -2. Well, -2 and 2 have a sum of 0, which I like because I can stop right there, because if I have cosine equals 0 over anything, I don't even have to solve those, it's going to be 0. So cosine theta is equal to 0 at 90. I know that from the unit circle from last semester, but if you don't believe me, cosine inverse both sides. And you're going to get theta equals, watch this, bam, 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 wow, love it, 90. And 90 is a perpendicular. Okay, which is also referred to as orthogonal. Bam.
All right. Man, you can't even see that part. Sorry about that. There we go. I hope that video's been coming out. Uh-oh. I hope. Uh-oh. I may have totally messed it up. Zoomed way too far in. Uh-oh. All right, let's try this next one. I'll try to keep an eye out more. Okay? Okay. If I have to re-record, I can always type. That's because I helped him today, Daddy-o.
Are you done?
No, almost. Okay, now this will be on the test. So this is an important skill to practice. Okay, so we have a difference and a dot product. So vector u, I'm doing that difference. Now, it's just like order of operations, parentheses first, okay? Dot product is like multiplication, so you would do that after. Okay, so we're going to do this part first. So u minus v is going to give us a vector. And to do that vector subtraction, I do the 2, the horizontal minus the horizontal. And the vertical minus the vertical. So -1 minus the vertical, which is 2. Okay, so 2 minus 1 is -1. And -1 minus 2 is -3. Okay, so then I'm going to do the dot product of this with w. Okay, so dot product with w would mean that I have -1 comma -3. Dot product with w, which is -4 comma 5. Okay, and so to do that, we take the horizontal from the first one. We multiply it with the horizontal in the second one. And then we take the vertical in the first one, and we multiply that with the vertical in the second one. Once we find those two products, we'll add them together. Let's check. Are we still on screen? Yeah. Okay, -1 times -4 is 4. And -3 times 5 is -15. When I add them, I get -11. Final answer. All right. Moving on down. Number 24. Okay, so number 24. I have u dot w. So parentheses first, we're going to do this dot product. Okay, so the dot product of u with w. Okay, and so I'm going to take the horizontal from u, which is 2, multiply it with the horizontal from w, which is -4, and then I'm going to add that with the product of the vertical with u and the vertical with w. Okay, so 2 times -4 is -8, and -1 times 5 is -5. When I add those, I get -13, which is a scalar. So you can multiply a scalar with a vector, okay? No dot product, okay? So I'm going to take that -13, I'm going to multiply that with v, okay? So that would be 1, 2, and then you're going to distribute that -13. So -13 times 1 is -13, and -13 times 2 is -26. So vector for this one, and for the previous one, it's a scalar. Okay, so scalar, vector. All right, one last one. Quite a crazy one. Okay, so here we're going to do our dot product. Okay, parentheses first. So dot product, we're going to take our vector v. Okay, and we're going to do the dot product with vector w. Okay, so that is going to be the horizontal component in v times the horizontal component in w, added with the horizontal, vertical in v and the vertical in w. So 1 times -4 is -4, 2 times 5 is 10, and the sum of those two is -6, which is a scalar. Okay, then we need to find the magnitude of u, because I can't multiply this with that until I do my magnitude first. Okay, so magnitude of u is equal, if I do a square, is equal to the horizontal square plus the vertical squared. So that's 4 plus 1, which is 5, but I have to square root that. Okay, make sure I'm still on screen. Yep. Okay, so this is square root of 5. Okay. So if I do this here, it's this times, remember that dot product? Okay. So it's going to be the root 5 times our -6. And so that would just be -6 root 5, which I'm probably not on the screen anymore. But bam, right there. Okay, that's your final answer. Awesome. Okay, so I hope that video turned out. Be embarrassed if it didn't, but I'm worried that it didn't.